Hello, Westmoreland Sports Network listeners. I'm Hannah Mears alongside Kim Graziano. Kim, you are the coach at Greensburg YMCA Swim. We are very excited to talk to you today because this is a program that I don't know a ton about, but from reading and learning more, and hopefully from what you say today, more listeners get involved in what you guys do, because I have seen the accolades that a lot of your athletes have the chance to achieve, and it's very impressive and exciting. So welcome, and thank you for taking time to speak with me.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So why don't you go ahead and start off by giving a little bit of background about yourself, your career, and your swim career as well.
Okay. So I've been coaching for 30 plus years. And I've coached at various venues. So I've been a high school swim coach. I coached at Mount Pleasant High School, at Hempfield High School. I'm presently an assistant coach at Penn Trafford High School. And while doing the Penn Trafford thing, I have been at the Y pretty steady. So my children have all been products of the Greensburg YMCA. I have one left that still swims for the Greensburg Y. But my daughter started when she was 6 and she is now 23. So I have been coaching, like I said, for over 30 years, showing my age. It changed hands a few times with coaching, with ADs and that kind of thing. But I'm a product of the YMCA. I was a swimmer for what was once called Scottsdale YMCA. And so I love the YMCA feel. I love the program. I think that it has a special offering because with the YMCA, you can swim the YMCA League, which has districts, states, and nationals, which is an amazing swim meet. The national swim meet is just one of the best in the country. It truly is. But you can also swim U.S. swimming, so you get to dabble in both. Whereas if a lot of the local teams that are the aqua clubs, they only do U.S. swimming, so we have our hands in both, and I think that that's a real positive. So, so I'm a real advocate of YMCA swimming, age group swimming, and our program has been there for a long time. We've had our ups and downs. Our numbers right now, due to COVID, I think, have been a little bit lower, and our team is very new and very young. But we're growing. So we're back up to about 55 swimmers, which is pretty good for us. At one point when I was coaching, we were over 100. So we're trying to build our program back up a little bit, but we have a really nice young group of kids from 6 years old all the way up to 18. So it's good. It's really good.
It seems like you guys do a lot, and you're never showing your age, you're showing your wisdom. So we'll switch that around there.
Okay.
But through that amount of experience, you talked about coaching your kids. What was that dynamic like, and being able to coach them? Was it just at the Y you got to coach them, or did you have the opportunity to coach them at all in their actual high school events and junior camps as well?
Yeah, I have coached them I love it. You might ask them the same question and they may give you a different response, but I've been able to coach them all through their age group swimming and then in their high school program too. So that's sort of how I got on board at Penn Trafford High School, because my kids have been there, and I've had, they've swam 4 years, 4 years, and 4 years. There was no overlap with any of them. So I'm on my 9th year or 10th year with my youngest son. But yeah, they love swimming, and it's just been such a great adventure because my daughter has been able to take me to the national swim meets, and because she was very talented, and then she swam at St. Francis University. So, it's just been such a great thing because I've experienced it as a swimmer, as a coach, and as a mom. So
yeah, you cover the whole field there.
I have, that's for sure. And I love it. I do. I absolutely love it. So,
and your youngest son now who's coming through, I saw that he had success at the state level as well. So talk about his age group and sort of where they are. I also know they struggled with COVID last year, kind of limiting a lot of swimmers into what they do by canceling different things. So tell me how these elite level swimmers are navigating, these highs and lows of what your program's going through at the moment.
Yeah, it has been it's been a challenge for sure. And we were lucky and fortunate that the YMCA was actually closed for a lot of the COVID thing, but they allowed us to still come in because we had such low numbers and we could spread out and we were doing, so we definitely lost some time in the water, and it was really a crazy training kind of season where the kids did not train probably the most optimal way, but we did a lot of dry land on our own. Our coach from Penn Trafford, he would make videos for us and we would do some dry land together at home, that kind of thing. And somehow, by the grace of God, they were very successful. I mean, my son ended up attending PIAAs and he made it to futures last year. So it was a really big year, and he's on a relay that was All-American. So as a freshman, he's an All-American swimmer, and that's pretty crazy. So yeah, they prevailed for sure. And I think that it just inspired them. Like they had great success with that adversity that I think only made them better. So yeah. And so this year it's just such a good thing because we can be in the water, 6 days a week and train the way we want them to train. So we're hoping for even better things. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Good. I mean, if they're already having that success in challenges and training, imagine what they're going to do, knowing that they have a full season of actual the training that you wanted them to do. But right. I'm curious, I remember seeing a lot of social media trends with swimmers during the pandemic. And it was so funny because we were all thinking of how challenging it was because it was around an Olympic year, what all these athletes had to adjust to not being able to have access to the normal types of equipment they needed to train. Right. And we saw a lot of swimmers like sitting on their counter and like doing these strokes on the counter. And so of course we all had to try it and see if we were able to do it. It was way harder than it looked, much harder. So do you know what I'm talking about? Did anyone
yes, I do.
Go into your dry land training?
Yes. Well, and you know what? It's all about technique. I mean, swimming is a huge technique sport. So, and that's the problem. You can't just go out and take a run or, do things that you need water. So, but it does keep you really in that loop, just making that motion and thinking high elbows and, those kind of things. So yeah, it was sort of funny, but a lot of stretch cords were used, tether straps, things like that they just had to improvise for sure. So
yeah. And it was funny because for those of us as myself, who couldn't do it, not funny that because it actually does work for those who know how, but it is hard. So I'll have to find those videos and send them out to people and say, listen, if you're laughing right now, try it first.
There you go.
It's not easy, which swimming really isn't. Swimming is some of the most intense training I've ever done as an athlete growing up. So for those athletes who do this full time, props to them. Your athletes are so incredible. And let's talk about some of the things of where you're at, where your season starts, and what these athletes are working to in terms of their Y competition, and then a little bit more about when they'll hit the regionals and state and national levels throughout the year. Where's the timeline at?
Yeah, so right now we're sort of in our dual season. So we just have dual meets. So everything is pretty just intense training. We sort of swim right through that kind of stuff. And then by about mid-February, we start to think about, okay, here we're getting into our district meets, which is more of sort of a Western Pennsylvania meet. And that we have our district meet at Spire, which is in Ohio. So, and then they take the top tier of those kids and they move on to the state meet where we'll meet the Central, East, and West winners or champions from there. And we all come together as a state meet at that meet. And then you're called a state champion if that's what you are or whatever. So, and that's really the end. As far as nationals go, nationals will be at the beginning of April, end of March. And that is a qualifying time. So you have to do qualifying times. They're super fast. But sometime throughout the season, you have to hit that mark and then you qualify for nationals. So really, it's not bearing on what you did at the state meet or the district meet. It's just a total time thing. So, and Pennsylvania has a lot of representation at our national meet. It's usually in Greensboro, North Carolina. A super fun meet. They always have former Olympians that come back and talk to the swimmers, but it is a fun meet. So we had 2 swimmers last year that qualified, Regan Brown and then my son, Kim Graziano. that qualified, but the national meet didn't happen. So we're hoping that they get to experience, because that would have been their first experience. So we're hoping that they can experience that this year. So
yeah, I think for a lot of athletes, I saw a lot of those national dreams kind of go away, and it was so sad. So they're young though, so that they're going to have opportunities. Thankfully, but you mentioned getting advice from Olympic swimmers at that level. That is such a cool thing, and awesome for these Olympic athletes to come back and offer that too. Who's the coolest Olympian that you guys got advice from or got to meet?
We have spoken to Dara Torres, which she's a pretty amazing woman. And she was one of the oldest Olympians. And then, I lost his name. Ryan Lochte. We talked to Ryan Lochte too. So he was sort of the younger ones that has been there. So yeah, it's a pretty neat experience, and they tell their story, and it's what's I think most exciting is when they're there. They always say that of all the meets they've ever gone to, barring the Olympics, I'm sure, it's one of the most exciting meets that they ever attend. So they really talk so highly about a national swim meet. So it's sort of cool.
Yeah. And I mean, it's just an accomplishment to get there. So then once you're there, you kind of really just enjoy the experience. You want to do well, but it's also like, I'm at least here. So this is just even to take in the experience. But yeah, I mean, that's awesome. I think that's one of the coolest things, but I'm really curious because it seems like this is a pretty loaded schedule. And I've played different sports where there's, everyone almost now, all athletes are in some club aspect as well as their high school competition. So how do your athletes navigate being high school athletes, but also in sort of the same season, being a club member? Because my seasons were a little different being a club member. So educate me on that process.
Yeah, it is a tough ride for them, for sure. So your elite athletes are going on, they're doing the WPIL meet, they're doing PIAAs, and that's all right in the mix of all of these district, states, and national meets. So it is really tough. It's tough to taper them for the meets, and you sort of have to pick and choose. You have to say, what's our goal here? Do we want to swim our best at PIAAs? Do we want to swim our best at YMCA state? So you almost have to talk and have a plan with each athlete to see what their goal is. Like I know that Regan Brown and Patton, they're both thinking this year. I mean, I think high school states is their big goal. But what they may do is sort of just slide through districts and states for YMCA and then gear back up for nationals. So you just have to pick and choose, because you cannot race at that high intensity for like 5 weekends in a row. It's just not going to happen. So you really just do the best you can. And as a coach, it's a little nerve-wracking because you have to figure out when, how to ride that taper and how long they can hold it. And girls are different than boys. And so, yeah, so it's a game for sure.
Yeah, a lot of challenges to navigate there, but I'm sure, you as a great coach with all this experience, that's why your athletes are still successful, is because and you have the knowledge to get them there. So that's awesome. And kudos to you and your staff as well. So for people listening to this right now and they have an interest in swimming, how can they get involved at Greensburg YMCA? And what are the steps that they should take to be able to swim alongside all of you?
Yeah. So all they need to do is they can come in at any time. We always invite swimmers to come in and see our team, try our team, and that they can do that whenever they want to do that. So some teams are restricting to when they'll allow kids to come in, but we'll allow kids to come in at whenever. So it just contact the YMCA, find out when we're there, and come down and just talk to the coaching staff and watch our program, watch our team, see if you like it and see if you want to be a part of it. But yeah, we invite anybody that wants to join in for sure.
Yeah, that's so exciting. And it's nice to know you guys are so open about everything. It seems like you have a really diverse amount of time that people can come in and train, which is awesome. It's not super limiting, and you get to do some really cool things throughout the year, especially going to these different competitions where you can run into Olympic athletes. So very exciting. What do you think you would tell everybody, just a final wrap up here, as what has been the most rewarding thing you've seen for swimmers at the Greensburg YMCA as to why people should come and swim for you guys?
I just think it's such a a lifelong sport. You know, it's something that you can take with you forever. And truly, the times that you do are probably not the thing that you're going to remember, but the memories that you have, like going to those national meets or those district meets, or even a dual meet, and just being a part of a team. I think we have a great dynamic with our program, and I think our kids really have fun together. And I think that those memories are lifelong. And so I think we have a lot more to offer than just fast swimming. I think it's the whole package. So it's a good place to be for sure.
Yeah, I can attest to that with club sports and activities outside of your high school. You got to meet so many cool people that maybe in high school competition you'd be competing against as well. Right. So you're going with the best of the best, but you're also training alongside the best and the best in your region as well. So exciting, Kim. It's been wonderful to know more about the Greensburg YMCA, and I hope that from this you get more people going to visit you guys and show interest in the program. And best of luck to your athletes this year. I'll be so excited to see who can make it to these different levels, and hopefully see some of your Greensburg Y swimmers at the national level as well. So best of luck to you and everyone involved in your program.
Thank you very much. And I appreciate the time for sure.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us.
All right. Thank you.